Alright, are you gonna fucking work? Will they fucking try? Alright, here we go. Ah, man, my ass hurts. Oh well. Clap sync, everybody. Hey, everybody, what is up? It is Stan the Man, and welcome back to another Stan the Man podcast. It is Monday, the 9th of November, 2000 and goddamn 20. We're in the home stretch. We're in Thanksgiving times, or whoever the hell celebrates Thanksgiving. I don't know. I only celebrated Thanksgiving like once in my fucking life, so I don't know that. No, I don't know that much about that. Anywho, welcome to the new podcast setup. Okay, this is how it's gonna be from now on. Possibly, because there are some current limitations to the way that I'm working right now. Okay, the camera that I'm using, the magnificent Fujifilm X-T30, even though it's great, it is not perfect. I am currently recording in 4K, and it only has a 10-minute recording limit in 4K. Not only that, this thing fucking overheats a lot, so I'm gonna be paying really close attention to that fucking tally light over there, because when that tally light turns off, that is my sign to turn this off, let the camera cool off for a bit, and then start recording once again. But in the meantime, how are you guys doing? I hope you guys are doing well wherever you are in the world, or here on the lovely island of Aruba if you guys are listening in. So if it's your first time here, usually the podcast actually comes into audio form, but this time I decided to change things up a bit. There will be two versions of this podcast. There will be a audio version that will be there will be an audio version that I will be sending out to Spotify via Anchor on my lovely iPad, and there will be a YouTube version, or the video version, that I will have up on YouTube on my main channel. What the fuck am I talking about? I only have like one fucking channel. But when it comes to the ones on my channel, I will also be able to like split them up into actual highlights that are... It's a lot better than just staring at the same black and white image of me while I'm just talking out of my ass. This time, I will be talking out of my ass, and you guys can see my face in beautiful 4K, even though I will be downscaling this to 1080p to like save space, and also YouTube upload times or shit internet. Nah, but I hope everything is going well over there. I've been doing pretty great. Usually I just like sit down before these podcasts actually happen. I'd usually like sit down and, write stuff out, some bullet points to make sure my fucking mind stays on one straight line. But that's not gonna fucking happen today. I didn't write that down. I decided, okay, I wanted to inaugurate this studio the best way I can. Well, the best way I thought I could, by just sitting down and just talk out of my ass for about 15 to 20 minutes. And this is exactly what I am going to do. Now, but when it comes to like what's been going on when it comes to what's been going on these days, okay, well, big news, the United States just fucking dumped Donald Trump. That is finally some good fucking news. But to be honest, I kind of feel indifferent about that, and I know I'm gonna sound like an asshole here. No, I'm not gonna even try to defend myself. I am an asshole in this situation, in the sense that I don't care. Dude, I live on a fucking small island in the southern Caribbean that 90% of the world doesn't even know exists. Okay, why? I have bills to pay. I have a family to care for and love. I also have my own goals and stuff to focus on. So why the hell would I freaking stress over an election that's half a world away? But that being said, in this election, it does have some far-reaching effects. For example, how would this affect relations between the US and the communist regime in China? Now, keep in mind, I do think that, the communist regime in China is kind of sad that Mr. Trump is no longer president. Now, what do I mean by that? I'm pretty sure they were using this dude as kind of a way to show the world, to basically paint the US in a picture paint the US in a way where it's been losing its good name throughout the world. And I'm pretty sure the Chinese government actually wanted that to happen, to spread bad propaganda about the US in China. And now with Donald Trump gone, when Biden hopefully will focus more and more, I would say, more diplomatic solutions to a lot of the world issues that we face today, especially going into the Paris Accord, the Paris Climate Accord. I'm pretty sure the Chinese government might be not shaking in their boots, but they might be watching the following unfolding events quite closely. Now, it can have like far-reaching effects between relations between the U.S. and India, U.S. and Iran. That was a fucking mess. Like, how's Biden going to clean up the mess that the Trump administration actually made? There's also relations between the U.S. and Cuba. That's actually closer to where we are right now. So even though I constantly, fucking jab at people who live here and stress way too much about the election, it is a good idea to actually have a decent picture of how this might affect you or how this might affect the rest of the world, be that positive or negative. So you have to figure out what goes well and what goes wrong. At least that's the way I think about it. Now, I keep saying that, but oh man, like I go on Facebook and I just see, like, okay, so this is something that I learned from a fucking awesome YouTuber that's funny as hell, Nux Taku. I'll fucking link him in the description. There's Nux Taku and there's Nexanor, his second channel. And dude, he says something that resonates with my soul, right? You can either choose to cry at the toxicity or laugh at the toxicity. I choose to fucking laugh at the toxicity. Like, I'm looking at people posting about like literally just posting shit. Dude, we live in a country that I'm pretty sure 60 to 70% of the US doesn't even know exists. Like, I've been around Discord. Every single person that I talk to on Discord, it could be from either the US, it could be either from the US, Japan, Australia. They have no idea where the fuck Aruba is, okay? To give you some perspective, Aruba is basically just a speck of dirt, a very beautiful speck of dirt in the Southern Caribbean. We have our issues, but still, it's a nice place to visit, not exactly a nice place to live. But yeah, it's like really funny to me watching people stress over this election. Like, bro, it's good that you have this opinion, but who the fuck are you? Like, do you honestly think you didn't vote? We can't vote. Do you think you have like any influence as to how this election is gonna go? How the outcome is gonna be? Like, no. So in the meantime, just sit back, enjoy the popcorn, shut the fuck up, and enjoy the fucking show. That's pretty much how the rest of the world I'm speaking a lot. That's pretty much how the rest of the world viewed the election. Like, in my opinion, at least that's the way I viewed the election. Just fucking grabbing a bag of popcorn, and it's like watching a fucking MMA fight. Grabbing a bag of popcorn and seeing who the fuck's gonna win and who the fuck's gonna break a nose. Oh man, but leading up to the freaking election, there were like people boarding up windows in stores in New York. Like, they were anticipating absolute mayhem. But then again, it could be also they are boarding up stores that are closing in New York due to the pandemic, which is also something that's been going on for the past few months now. But people seem to be putting that on the back burner because, the UN, sorry, nearly fucked up there. The election takes literal presidency over people who are losing their jobs, losing their businesses. But yeah, great to know that people have their priorities straight. But then again, I say that, but we have to take into consideration that a lot of people simply do not have the time. They simply don't have the time to think about the bigger picture. I'm guilty of this. Everybody's guilty of this. We simply have other things to do. Other things to worry about. This was actually from a book I read. I'm looking at it right now. Okay, it's right there in my cabinet. 21 Lessons for the 21st Century by Yuval Noah Harari. And one quote that stuck out to me in that book is, "History gives no discounts." Okay? If the future of humanity is decided in your absence because you're too busy feeding your family, you and them will not be exempt from the consequences. Consequences of a choice you never made. This is very unfair. But whoever said history was fair. And that resonated with me so damn much. Because it is true. A lot of us just simply do not have the time to think about that type of stuff. Which is why the same reason I'm kind of like indifferent to the results of the election. In fact, the only thing that I was worried about in the election was, are people going to stop calling me Trump? Because my last name is Trump with an O. It's a very common last name here on Aruba. But people have been calling, "Hey Trump, what's up? Hey, how's your granddad doing up there in the White House? Hey, where you going to loan me some money, man?" Like, shut the fuck up, Serabo Smul. Alright, now, and we are back. I had to reset the camera. Like I told you guys, I constantly have to keep resetting the camera, either until I solve the overheating issue, or until I just bite the bullet and get a external recorder. But instead of getting an external recorder, I think I just end up getting an extra camera to go along with this, but fuck it. Anywho, as I was saying, the only thing I was worried about when it comes to the results of these elections was if people are gonna stop calling me Trump. really awkward. Oh man, but no, we're not doing so hot politically here on Aruba in general, especially since like the pandemic hit. A lot of political parties, their true colors have been, have been shown. That's like one way that I would put it. But like I mentioned this in my last podcast, the political party HTC. Now back in the day, I thought. HTC was just a phone brand, but now it's Juventud Ta e Cambio. I think that's their name. They are a brand new political party, and if you want to find out more about them, I actually talked about them in my last podcast highlight. I'll link it somewhere in there. But in short, they are a new political party fighting for seats in the parliament, and they mostly consist of members between the ages of like 20 to 23 or 30. I don't know exactly how old these guys are, these kids. Some of them are like legit kids. And I'm seeing some of the stuff they post. I'm like, dudes, what? Like, they have good intentions, but at the same time, I'm like, bro, dude, what the fuck are you doing? Like some of the shit that they post, man. A couple of days ago, they tried doing a live stream, and they started the live stream by playing the Aruba national anthem. I mean, yeah, A for effort, dude. But come on, don't you think it's actually better to just hire an editor to try to, I don't know, make you guys look well? No, but I really want to get them onto the podcast. I really want to interview these guys, not because I want to, even though I talked shit. Okay, no, I'm going to be honest. I have talked a lot of shit about these kids because I genuinely do not believe in what they're fighting for. I do not think they have the best intentions. But then again, I've only seen their Facebook post. I've only seen other people's reaction to them. I want to get their side of the story. I want to know, like, fucking what makes them tick. What makes them do the things that they actually do every day? What drives them to make the decisions that they are making every single day? And to me, it's fascinating. I really want to know how their minds work. Not just like, and I want to hear it from everybody, not just from Gilbert, who is the leader of this new political party, but the rest of them as well. There's Latoya. There's a third guy. I don't even know the third guy's name. Just to show how much I've done my fucking homework. I don't even know the dude's name. Christ alive, man. No, but they've been getting like a lot of popularity on Facebook, but not because of good reasons, simply because of like the memes that they've generated, like the memes that these guys have made. Christ alive, man. Like I saw one post where I think Gilbert, yeah, he was like addressing the hate they were getting from Facebook. I mean, dude, come on. If you're gonna start a political party, you are gonna get some haters. Okay, you're not gonna assume that the second you get started you're gonna get everybody on board. It does not work that way. You are gonna have your fair share of critics. You are gonna have your fair share of haters. And believe me, I'm gonna be honest, the hatred this time, it's one of those rare situations where the hatred is actually justified, especially considering this dude's past. Also something that I talked about in my previous podcast, but we'll get to that another time. But yeah, I generally want to sit down and have a socially distanced, because in the pandemic and stuff like that, I really want to actually have an interview with these guys. I actually want to find out what they're thinking, what makes them tick, and what, like I mentioned, like what drives them to do the things that they actually want to do. Because, like I said, there are always two sides to every there are always two sides to every single coin. So far, I've only seen my side of the coin. I legitimately want to see their side of the coin, their side of the story. No judgment, no bias, just questions, and hopefully some straightforward answers. I'm just looking at the iPad, looking over there, looking at the iPad, just regular, carefully construed questions and answers. That's all I want from them. But the climate here in Aruba, like the cops here, then they also haven't been getting like a good rep. I remember like one time there was a video of a dude. The police were confronting them. Yeah, the police were confronting them, and all of a sudden, fucking This dude just started wailing on it. He started fading everybody. Dude, they're beating him with a baton and stuff. He doesn't even give a shit. He is fucking slapping the shit out of every officer there. I'm like, bro, why would you do that? If you know you're gonna get arrested, just cooperate. I mean, it does show that some of these guys, they are not exactly well trained in combat, especially like the person who is, I'm gonna like review that video, especially the person who was like wielding the baton, because we've had training and that type of stuff. Instead of like legitimately hitting the dude, she's like meekly slapping him. It literally looks like oh no, stop it, oh no, stop. Like, dude, there are gonna be situations where you're gonna fucking whack that thing, okay? Not over the head, that's illegal. But still, like, it showed a side of the local police force here that they are not exactly the best trained. Okay, but then again, that's still not an excuse to fucking go ahead and start beating the shit out of officers, okay? Now, keep in mind, I'm not talking about the American police force. I'm talking about the Aruban police force, KPA, Corps Politie Aruba. Now, these guys, they're doing their best, especially during this pandemic. They're doing their best to try to control a public, to try to control people, not people, a public in general, a population that just simply refuses to listen to those who know better. We are still in the middle of a pandemic. They know the bar is closed. So what the hell does this alcoholic fucking population do? They decide to fucking make a huge gang, have a huge party in the middle of a parking lot, okay? And when the cops finally show up, you know, blama gang, as we say, you know, to make sure they don't party too much, or to make sure, you know, they're following the social distancing rules, they get mad. Like, why the fuck? They are literally doing their jobs. Okay, it's not their fault. You don't listen, you dumb cunts. And that is something that's truly lacking here on Aruba. I think a lot of places in general, but I think it's not as bad as in the Caribbean. It's just a total lack of, not respect, but just a total lack of, obedience is a strong word. A total lack of actually understanding the consequences of their decisions. Now, it was exactly this that led to the second wave, and now, due to the second wave actually losing its cases and things returning back to normal for a second fucking time, people suddenly think it's okay to go back to partying. And since they can't party as much as they used to back in the day, they think it's perfectly okay to just set up somewhere with a cooler and 9 other friends in close proximity to one another, and not exactly knowing the risks that carries along with it. And then these people, they have the fucking nerve to be mad at the cops. I'm sorry, if I was a police officer, I'd be mad at you. I would try to arrest those people at that fucking time. But then again, I don't know the laws that well. I know there are certain freedoms that there are certain rights and freedoms that people need. You can't just get rid of them. But at the same time, as I mentioned before, like, it's a prime example of what too much freedom can do, not just to an individual, but to a whole population. Here on the island, I simply believe we just have too much freedom. Too much freedom. If you let too many people do what they want with no fucking consequences whatsoever, it leads to utter chaos. Some people are going to be left behind. People who need a certain amount of attention for certain amount of things, they aren't going to be taken care of. Instead, you're going to be focusing on people who either have the financial means, or either have the financial or social means for that type of stuff, or they have things that can benefit you in some sort of exchange. Vriendjespolitiek. And that is something that it's a real problem here on the island, to the point where the Dutch even tried to step in. And the minute they tried to step in, of course, everybody's gonna lose their fucking minds, because the population here is still bitter over shit that happened 50 fucking years ago. Yeah, but it is like a huge problem here in the island. But yeah, then again, I can like complain about it all I want. One measly person isn't gonna change all that shit. It takes a group of people. It takes a group of people working with the singularity. No, it takes a group of people working with the mindset of a single entity, working with the singularity and purpose of one person, of one common goal, to actually achieve this change and shift. But it takes time. you know. It takes time, it takes effort, but effort that I, to be honest, would rather invest into other fucking things. But that's the way the cookie crumbles, as some people would say. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. How long have I been doing this right now? We just passed the 20-minute mark. I got 20 minutes of audio right there. So I'm not going to try to do this podcast for long because you guys haven't been seeing this. Literally every time this camera turns off after like the 10-minute recording time limit, I just stop it, let it cool off for a bit because this camera does have a problem with overheating. So I just stop it, let it cool off for a bit, and then hit record on the next part. So I think I might just be keeping these podcasts either 20 minutes long or anywhere between about 30 minutes long, possibly, depending on how these work. Now, I'm thinking about getting either an external recorder for this camera, because this camera is a beast, or I might try to upgrade for maybe a Fujifilm X-T3. The X-T4 I heard is like really fucking good, but the only problem with the X-T4, it does have certain issues with it. So I might be either going for the X-T3, which is basically the X-T30's bigger brother at this point. But I'm gonna be staying with the X-T30 for the time being. And yeah, that's pretty much about it. I hope you guys enjoyed this podcast. Let me know if there's any changes you think will be great for me to bring. If you guys have if there are any like professional podcasters, on the off chance that there are any professional podcasters watching this or listening to this, if you guys can give me some tips, just help me out, because a lot of the tips that I've seen on YouTube and Google involve literally thousands of dollars worth of equipment. That's money that I don't really have. Literally, like all the shit that you see right now, I mentioned in my in my freaking update video, the shit that I got here, it's either some of them are used and some of them like I got from like bargains and clearance sales and stuff like that. So yeah, that was pretty much about it. Hope you guys enjoyed this podcast. Hope you guys are staying safe out there during these trying times. And as always, this is Stan the Man, or Stan the Guitar Kid, signing off. What the fuck was that wink? Did you see me try to wink? And I think it just winked and had a stroke. Anywho, fucking goodbye. Get out of here. Wehways.